What's going on, everyone? This is the Rockness Monster here, and in front of me today is potentially the best budget power supply on the market right now. I know there's plenty others that are like white rated, like the thermal take, and have ugly cables, but this one, in my opinion, if you're trying to step into a somewhat suitable build for mid to even high end potentially, this is the best value for money right now. So we got Black Friday coming up really soon. At the time of recording, it is October 31st. Happy Halloween! But this Aresgame is a very new power supply to market. I just noticed it on Amazon a few weeks back, and at the time of purchase, it was $49.99 for this 650 watt, which in my opinion is a great value considering my current system is a modular gold EVGA unit that's 750 watts, and that was close to $90 whenever I got that new years ago. So you're getting close to the wattage of that for half the price. So let's go ahead and I'm going to unbox this. Forewarning, I have unboxed already just to look over everything and make sure it seems adequate, and I was very pleasantly surprised as like the quality and everything inside. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it on camera and let you see what is inside. All right, so let's just go over really quick the manual, which gives some more detailed specs. There's a lot of stuff included in this box, surprisingly, at the price. So you come with the user manual, which we are currently holding. You get the AC power cord, a power supply, screws to install, some cable ties, and actually they included they call it a quick inspection tool. It is actually a jumper to test your power supply. So you just gotta plug the power supply into the wall, plug this jumper into your 24-pin power for your motherboard. It's tucked away in there somewhere. I've reboxed everything. It was a lot more neat whenever I first opened everything up. But you just test it, so you'll know if you have a working power supply, or at least the fan will spin up before you ever even install it into a computer, which is wonderful. So that's all in the box. But I'll go over a little more detailed specs here in the manual. So I'll put it right here. Well, in fact, I'll just throw a screenshot of this up on screen now, so it'll be a lot easier to see. But we have 588 watts delivered on the 12-volt rails, which is what is going to be drawing most of your power from your system. So the GPU, your CPU, your motherboard, all that stuff runs off the 12-volt rails. And that will be a lot of combined power. And considering its bronze rating, this is incredibly good value, which I've said over and over, and I'm probably going to say it a dozen times before the video is ending. So yeah, we have our jumper in the box. We got our cable ties and screws. We have some decent, very secure, like inflated plastic kind of bubble wrapped around here. And what I love about this, I mean, it's not modular. You're not getting modular cables, but most cases nowadays will have a power supply shroud, so you can hide these cables really well. But what I really like is that they're all black. So you can put this into a system, and you don't have the ugly ketchup mustard cables plugging all into the side of where the 24-pin is. These are all black, will look good in about any system. It's very neutral, and nothing on this power supply is too aggressive, other than maybe, I mean, this, if you mount the fan facing down, it's a little orange, but if you have a power supply shroud, you got no problem with that. And this is always, I mean, you can just remove this as well. It's just a sticker. So if you just want it to be blacked out, no issues at all on just being too eye-catchy or too gamery in your system. You got a regular fan, got your power supply switch on the back, and you get your regular power cable. So we got our 24-pin, of course. This particular power supply actually has a dual, well, if I can get it untangled, it is dual 8-pin CPU connectors. So on my motherboard, it is the X578 Aorus Master. That actually has the potential to have two CPU EPS connectors installed, so this will fully power my X570 motherboard, and with my Ryzen 9 3900X on there. In theory, we're going to actually test that system. Molex connectors, who needs those? Well, sometimes you do, but that's for really cheap RGB solutions and with like remote control, which I personally love. You get two 8-pin PCIe. You get your 24-pin, which is way over here. We got two sets of 3 SATA cables, so you get a total of 6 SATA cables, and that's it. So it's very generic cabling, not modular. As you can see, it all comes out of one spot. But if you're looking to, like, if you want a decent system and you still don't want to pay a ton of money and you're trying to maybe put that budget toward having a better SSD or something, I think this power supply will be perfect. So I'm going to be running this thing through the ringer on my personal system with the Ryzen 9 3900X and a 1080 Ti overclocked with 32 gigs of RAM. Ideally, I would not always recommend this power supply for a daily driver for that type of system. In my opinion, I think this would pair much nicer with a Ryzen 5 and something along a 5700 XT or a RTX 2070, or even the new cards coming out that are not super high end on the top of the line $600 cards. But you have that extra headroom with this power supply if you start out at this 650 watts to power something like a Ryzen 7, whatever you upgrade to down the line, and you'd never have to worry about it. You had the all black cables to where it would not be too cosmetically disturbing, I guess, in your system, and it would, for $49.99, it's a great value, but we're really going to test it right now and see if that value holds up with my system.
Okay, so I'm here at my main system. You can see that my current rig is the Ryzen 9 3900X here. I have my 1080 Ti overclocked with a mild overclock. It's not extreme, but we're going to be running it really heavily here in just a minute. At the same time as I'll run Cinebench multiple times while I have Heaven looping. I have Heaven pulled up here, and you can see the wattage. So currently, the ARESGAME 650W is hooked up. I'd listened to it, not under load yet, but I've listened to it, and it definitely doesn't pick up over the CPU fan or the GPU fan. So it seems acceptable for how loud it is. So we're going to go ahead and hit run on this. So we're running almost at 2 gigahertz, 1999 megahertz on my 1080 Ti, and we're hitting 100 FPS, roughly 189. So I'm going to let that heat up the GPU because temperatures right now is only at 77. It's probably going to get up to around 85. I am on a stock cooler, but it's still drawing a lot of power. I have those frequencies locked in. I really wish this audio would not come through, but I think it still is. Maybe not. I don't know. I hear it in my headset, but I have it muted on OBS, so it's a little loud. But while that's running, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to pull up just the hardware info information. So right now we've seen a peak of 260 watts drawn just from the GPU. And while that's still running in the background, because I think currently it's only at 70, but if I open this back up, it's going to ramp back up a lot. Now we're going to go ahead and start our Cinebench run, the full CPU load. We'll see. It's probably not going to be as what it was before, really good speeds, but you can see I do have the Ryzen 9. And we'll go back to Heaven and just let that be in full system load for until the Cinebench run is completed. So we've just finished up the Cinebench run, and as you can see, we ended up drawing, the package ended up drawing 145 watts, and our GPU ended up pulling well over 300. So overall, this is really pulling a lot of power. That's around 500 plus watts of total power draw, which is, you're really pushing the limits on like how much power draw you can really get from a system at this point, unless I had a 3080 like I said before, a 3090. And this power supply, this budget one that was only $50, is handling it. No problem. I have had no issues thus far with it. I might just run it again a few more times and just make sure we're not going to have any issues. So yeah, we've just finished up a Cinebench run here, around 6,500 points. Not great for the 3900X, but like I said, I had Heaven running in the background along with my EVGA Precision X open with its slight overclock, and then I have OBS also running in the background, feeding to my streaming computer to capture everything. So it's not really putting much load down, but there's a little bit of background usage. So the CPU is definitely being maxed out. GPU you can see is being maxed out. You're hitting a pretty high wattage on what is I'd normally feel comfortable with in the range of this particular power supply, being only $50 and being a bronze rated 650 watt, but it's handled the stress thus far no problem. So yeah, this power supply absolutely gets my recommendation. So subscribe for more content. I got more stuff on the way very soon. I'll have a link for this power supply down in the description below if anybody wants it. It's absolutely a good buy for any computer you're building under like $700, $750 to put in there, save a little bit of money, invest it somewhere else in the system, make it a faster system overall. But yeah, this has been the Rockness Monster. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.